Hello everyone, this energy update is well overdue. I'm sorry I haven't been able to make more videos. It's just that I've been extremely inundated these last couple of months, and between a lot of work that I've been doing, I've also had a lot of chronic migraines. I don't want to go too much into that. It's something I suffer from all the time anyway, but sometimes it's just more particularly intense. So let's talk energy. We started this brand new year thinking, okay, this is a brand new decade. How exciting. Let's get super millennial-ish. And then shit happened, basically. No one really could have predicted the outcome so far that we have experienced. And a whole new landscape literally popped up seemingly out of nowhere. And there we found ourselves in a brand new world. And I don't mean a shiny new world. This was a ultra unusual, different, alternative, surreal Netflix movie-like reality. So in the first few months, we really were coming into a new sense of self-identity. And I say this outside of the corona stuff. We were internalizing a lot, and you might not have realized it or not, but there was a kind of identity crisis within a lot of people. And this was already going to be happening energetically. However, with the corona times on top of this as a kind of overlay blanket to everything, it was more amplified and then more directed into various things like self-identity in work, self-identity in relationships, self-identity with regard to soul, life purpose. And that brings up ego versus soul and the big difference that lies there within. And then in May, we had a number of retrogrades happening, which brings up this powerful feeling of feeling like everything's in reverse, stuck, can't move forward, like someone slammed on the brakes, put you in reverse, and your gearbox is stuck. And then there are added roadblocks. Now, this energy is going to continue, unfortunately, but we are to swim our way through it. Now, I don't mean swim and force your way through currents that are holding you back necessarily, because we've learned, or at least I've learned many experiences of learning to not go against the stream when it comes to energy, but to flow along with it. We all know how hard it is to swim against the rapids. It's better off to just go with the flow and see where those waters are taking you. And really, you've had a major regroup. You know how it is when you feel like, okay, time to regroup. Well, the universe has kind of plonked the regroup sign right in front of your doorstep, hasn't it? Except after a while of regrouping, it starts to become a bit too long, because the natural normal flow of that would be, okay, there's a bit of chaos, uncertainty, let's just regroup, come together, brainstorm, whatever, recenter, recalibrate, and then off you go again. However, it feels like to a lot of people like you're not getting that catapult forward that your heart's desiring. So with this retrograde madness, there has been also this sense of questioning reality, questioning yourself, questioning relationships, questioning work, money, all the rest of it. So you can see how that notion of self-identity crisis and re-questioning I mentioned before has now morphed into this new sense of questioning. And people are not necessarily finding answers in a hurry. For some of us, yes, we're receiving answers, guidance, or at least in spurts, if not more frequently. And for others, it feels more deafening. But notice, beneath it all, beneath all the compression, oppression, limitation, restriction, and all those deafening, intense feelings and situations, there's an undercurrent, right? There's a few undercurrents happening at once, but at least the major undercurrent is an unsettling undercurrent that's sort of just simmering away, and that will bring us into eclipses in a moment. So I just want to show you the progression of energy and how one rolls into the other. But what I want to say is, although the outer world has had all these restrictions and you've been feeling it personally in your life, beneath all that, under the surface in your own inner world, inner reality, as opposed to outer reality, there's been a process of high-level revolution, metamorphosis, and change. And it's a new kind of evolution. But two things are happening at once. On one hand, there's a natural progression and evolution that is in sync with the energies that are natural, that are God, light energies. And on the other hand, there's a stirring, a mix, a dual force that contradicts that. The darker energies. Now, we live in this world of polarities, right? Light and dark. It's just you cannot escape it. It's this notion of separation, as some people call it. And we've all been separated in these corona times through social distancing and so on. And on the other hand, this great sense of sort of cyber unity has come into being. So there's always the play of the two. But in you has been birthing and expanding like an inner expansion. And this is contradicted by the outer limitation and constriction. So there's a lot of reflecting, questioning, and this sense of swimming in uncertainty becomes tainted and painted with darker energy or more shadow-like situations or energy through the shifting energies, through negative events that have been happening, arising, civil unrest and other things, which is just like burps along the highway, which are like markers of interference, providing a kind of chaotic interruption. So where you otherwise would be in a more synchronistic flow, if you connect too much with the outer reality chaos, events that you hear about on the news and so on, then you will go off course and go into a lower reality if you focus too much on all of that. So there's always the higher reality option. And by this I'm saying, and it's interesting, I've had these kind of messages come up before this year in my energy updates, where the angels were really strongly bringing through the idea that they really wanted to push through with those particular energies and situations this year, that we do have a choice, and there's the higher and the lower, right? But at the same time, a higher awareness understands to accept and be balanced between the two polarities of light and dark, and to walk the middle path, being conscious and aware of both. So when darkness arises, whether that is an old memory of someone who abandoned you or you had a fight with years ago, or whether it is a different kind of darkness seeping through your life, or whether it is through media or whatever, then go with the flow of what that is showing you, teaching you, what is rising up to be noticed. Because when the light then pours on it, then an awareness comes in. So you can walk the path of light and dark. And I guess, well, for lack of a better word, the secret of it, or the higher knowledge of it, is that balancing component, hence the yin and the yang sign, for example. And with that, a great wisdom arises where you can walk the dual path in good faith, knowledge and steed, with an inner strength, with a spiritual resolve, with bigger, wider, higher eyes, seeing to your left and right, sensing the path ahead of you, being aware of the path behind you, but centered. And as you picture that, the left, right, forward and back, it is like the angel's showing me now the cross, the symbol of the cross. And I know that that came up in my last video update. And that's a powerful sign, and one that they want to imprint upon you. So if you could picture now a high energy, celestial, super high frequency, God imbued, love filled, light amplified cross being imprinted on you, whether that is on your forehead or on your entire being, on your energy body. So receiving that now, feeling that cross imprint within you, encompass you, and your energies merge together and become one. And henceforth on your journey, have the approach of observing rather than absorbing. And this is a key, a preparation tool that will take you forward and that will keep you safe, protected, and allow your intuition to receive signals and keep you on the highway of truth, light, and understanding. Where any lower energies is noticed, but is like water rolling off a duck's back, so to speak. And onwards you go, like mother duck leading her little ducklings. Which does bring in the idea, so the angels just pop that one in to remind those of us who are parents that our children will follow after us. So if you think of being on this pathway of light, heading towards truth, holding that head up high in faith, knowing and God-like wisdom, and that's where the angels now say that's why they bring about that picture of a duck or a bird walking with its little chickies with a really high head up, because that's interconnecting with the spiritual realms. So they also show me now, they're making a bit of a joke of it, like a giraffe with a long neck and head, and they are such beautiful, gentle creatures, and they're now saying that's because you are a sensitive soul, dear one. And the emotions contained within you are real, raw, personal to you, but also infiltrated through the collective. So hold your head up high. Be that giraffe reaching for those high leaves on the tree that are imbued and embedded with light. And chew on those leaves. Notice how they are bright, light, like spring, where there is a new hope. And keep that in your heart, keep that in your mind, keep that visual as a reminder to keep walking along the highway. And all is well, they remind. So many retrogrades in May, including Saturn in retrograde for about 4 months, Venus in retrograde through to June 24th, and Jupiter in retrograde in Capricorn until September 12th. So these retrogrades are continuing their cycles. So notice the inner expansion happening on you, and stretch and expand that further. And as you'll notice, this is walking you on the line and path of peace, calm, tranquility. Notice it now, feel into it. Because surrounding that is this other energy. So we've moved through the introduction of a series of retrogrades, now compelled and amplified or added to by eclipse season, where we have 3 eclipses in a row. And this happens less often. Usually it's 2 eclipses. So this is super, super powerful. I'm hearing the word destructive, okay? Eclipses bring up a lot of intensity, Just remember, we've got to walk into that darkness, through that darkness, and reach into the light, okay? Both are happening simultaneously. So there will be a lot of chaos and disruption and eruption that is already happening, right? As a preface. That's your introduction. So imagine what's coming, okay? Things are brewing. You feel it within you. You feel it, dear empath. You feel it. Under the surface feeling of things rising up. Now you will have your own version of this with your own stuff as well as the collective energy. So that's quite a mix. So it's challenging. On one hand, there's the difficulties, there's the tension, there's this great disruptive force, the chaos. And then on the other hand, this is an opening, a portal, if you will, allowing access to higher dimensions, where your dreams are more vivid, where intuition is strengthened, signs, synchronicities. And so it's twofold. And you see, as I say that, see how the energy expands, just feel the difference. I knew June was going to be a massive month, July also, way in advance at the beginning of the year. And for me personally, my family actually had a whole trip to Croatia booked, a big family trip for a couple of months for June, July, and that's all been cancelled now and taken out of our hands. But I'm actually relieved because I would not want to be travelling and being somewhere on a supposed holiday during this kind of energy, right? So we always have to look at the blessings of things rather than focus always on the downside, right? There's the flip of the coin, the downside, the upside. This is the message that keeps getting repeated. So added to all this, we also have Mercury in retrograde coming up, okay? So we are now in the pre-shadow phase, the couple of weeks leading up to it. I think it's around June 18th that we have the Mercury retrograde, and that will go on for a while into July. So, all these eclipses, all these retrogrades, what an intense time. So just buckle your seatbelts, be ready for it. That's why my intention always is to bring you into the light, to, awaken your personal intuition and to feel into the words so that you can kind of get realigned or have a moment of understanding, of reflection. So whatever is true for you, whatever resonates at the deepest core level for you, even if it's for a moment, focus on that, expand that. That is your truth. And eclipses are all about truth. So I've been talking with you today about the cycle of this year, how we've moved from self-identity crisis through that to inner expansion, outer chaos, through now to a whole new doorway opening. So this recent period has felt a bit like a waiting room. The angels make a bit of a joke. It's like a Zoom waiting room. So it's like a waiting bay, right? A waiting bay where a ship's load is waiting before it goes from one point to the next. It's also like they're showing me now what is called the green room, where guests wait before they go on a talking show. They prepare, they sit idly, they might be nervous before their big performance, right? So the show's about to begin. That's what they're saying. The show is about to begin. You thought there was already a show? Wait till you see the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So there's going to be a lot of disruption, eruption, news, media, truth, fake news. A play between, the light and dark, truth and lies. These are all themes that the angels are bringing up right now. It all makes total sense. It all matches the energies. A rising up and a sinking down. Okay, institutions, individuals being shown for what they are. So more revelations of corruption or anything else that is a lower energy, whether someone is revealed that they are not who you thought they were. Okay, so this can happen in your personal life or in, seeing things for what they are, seeing what you couldn't see before, taking off those rose-tinted glasses. But it's not just your personal life, it's for the world. And in the world, there'll be truth revelations, such as, so-and-so is a pedophile. For example, a famous celebrity. Or so-and-so was involved in some terrible corruption or terrible event or deed, or a series of them. So what you call, I don't know why they call them gates, like Watergate. There's other ones as well. So those kinds of gates, okay? Now they're saying, okay, so a gateway is opening and other gates will close, or at least that light will wedge them open to reveal what they are. I don't know why Monsanto just popped in my head as well. On top of that, it's not mostly about that, it's an add-on, okay? Stuff like that. So Monsanto would represent the GMOs, okay, the bullshit. And I'm also seeing the weed killer, that kind of thing. Now, that's just a very small side thing because that's not what I was thinking, when I was first saying all this. They're much more bigger things, okay? They're showing me like Bill Cosby, what's been happening for all these people, more of that, okay? So, but, there's a lot of unknowns. So just like these recent civil unrest things have come about after the whole corona thing and all these unknowns and weird new things happening, wait for the next lot. On top of this, around June 22nd, Neptune will be in retrograde. So hello, more misunderstandings. More of a questioning between what's real, what's not, and where the lines are blurred. So be aware of all these things, okay? But in a way that is mindful, progressive, helpful, observative, wise. On top of this, there's a powerful, significant conjunction between Jupiter and Pluto that is happening 3 times this year. The first was in April. So one around, June 30th. And then later on in November again. And I'll bring you more information about that down the track. But this is potent. Potent. So let me go through the 3 eclipse dates, okay, because they are important. One has just passed from June the 5th. So sometimes with these dates, you might be a day off either way because of the time differences. And that one was a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. Around June 20, 21 or 22, we have the solar eclipse in Cancer and the solstice. So brilliantly orchestrated. This is peak energy, okay? I'll bring you more information on that as we draw nearer to that. But right now, we're under the influence of this recent lunar eclipse that has just happened, and we're still feeling it. We are really, in between the worlds of these eclipses, like these portals, moving from one doorway to the next. And then in July, we have the last of these 3. And that is a lunar eclipse in Capricorn around July 4th, 5th. So this coincides with July 4th, a powerful date in the USA. And it's a big one. I'm seeing the red and the blue. I'm seeing fireworks, and I'm not just saying because of that event in general and what it represents, but also literally an explosion of energy. Okay, just as I said that now, don't be surprised if you're hearing about shootings, any kind of explosions or anything else outside of that. It's just an extra little side note. Any kind of what we would call just loosely negative event, okay? There's already been certain things that have been happening. As I said before, be prepared for more, but that just came up now as well. But with the political domain, it's huge as well. And that's where all those words I mentioned prior, they are completely connected, such as truth, lies. Okay, we're going to add words like world domination. In the underbelly of everything, there's this darker force that has been trying to control and manipulate us. And we are seeing it more than ever. Ever before. So know that that is a truth. Know that that is being revealed. We are sure in powerful times. So on that note, I'm going to leave you with lots of love and with lots of food for thought. God bless you in every way. And I would love it if you could respond to this video. Let me know how you're feeling, what's coming up for you, what resonates with you. So I welcome your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. That would be awesome. And you're welcome to pop me an email as well. All right, God bless you in every way. Talk soon.